Wow, hey there! Welcome to the Freelancing Legacy video podcast. This is your host, Demi. This is episode 1. Welcome. I'm not sure exactly how to do an introduction with this one because on videos, it's a lot easier. There's structure. So I guess as the several episodes go on, I would be able to create some sort of like an introduction. So fun! I'm actually a little anxious because this is my first time doing a video podcast. I once had a podcast with my fiance, as you might have already known. It's the Heart of Selling podcast. We also discontinued it because he had to go back to United States. And I'm here in the Philippines. We're in a long distance relationship. It's been hard, but someday soon we will be going back to podcasting, I think. Who knows? Bo and I, we always have talked about so many things and we are very much willing to share whatever knowledge we have with you. So I'm pretty sure we're going to collaborate on something very soon when we see each other again. Well, we do not have any dates yet, but we're going to be spending the Christmas time, my birthday, our anniversary, and the New Year's together this year. So, a little bit about my personal self. Anyway, so the reason why we have the series of podcasts here in Freelancing Legacy is that I'm actually stepping out of the freelancing industry. Oh my God, that is so weird to officially say that. The reason being, I don't want my focus to be directed into a lot of things. I am not really that type of person. When I want to pursue something, it has to be this 1 or 2 things, so I know exactly how to plan ahead, plot the things that we have inside the company. Like I would be able to understand like, hey, this is for project A or company A, and then this one is for project B, company B. And if you just have a lot of moving pieces in your company, you're gonna go crazy. I haven't done that before. And I also do not suggest a lot of people to kind of like have a lot of moving pieces because it's either you're not going to have time for yourself, not going to have time for your family, not going to have time for like the same exact reason why we went into entrepreneurship is to free ourselves of time, right? So we wanted to become entrepreneurs so that we can earn a lot of money at the same time, be able to do whatever the hell we want to do. And so I just don't see the point of like having a lot of moving pieces in your businesses and being able to like go here for this company and then this company too. Like I can't just simply divide myself. I'm not gonna be a slave of having multiple companies. That's just not my thing. Anyway, so there's that. And then another reason also why I wish to step out from the freelancing industry is the fact that CRA is becoming an expense rather than a profit because we have not been marketing it anymore. And I think that it has already run its course. Right? So it's really nice for me to see that while a lot of people are still interested in freelancing, I see a lot of my students now shifting to coaching, that kind of stuff. So it has definitely run its course already. And it's so nice to see how things have moved very quickly in this industry. And so, me too. I think it's time for me to teach other things, to do other things that I'm very much interested in because I'm not gonna be a single person forever. I also have plans of starting my own family, and I don't want my kid, if ever I'm going to have a kid, to like get in the middle of me trying to pursue other things. So while I am not pregnant yet, while I don't have a kid yet, I wish to have other businesses also that I'm passionate about and that I feel are important to me. Okay, alrighty. So as a recap of what is happening, why do we have this podcast or video podcast, etc. By the way, if you're watching this on video, hello, you can see me. I am wearing purple. This is so nice. Yeah, if you're watching this or if you're listening to this via Spotify or Apple Podcasts, hello. It's nice to be able to go back in this type of industry. That's really nice. So the very first episode that we have here in the Freelancing Legacy is the question, why are people scared to go to freelancing? Or why are people scared to go to that kind of route? Why is it that freelancing seems to be a very daunting path? It's scary, probably intimidating to think about. And I would like to answer that question in hopes that people who are very much interested to freelance would be inspired, and that would break their limiting beliefs. Here's a story time. One of my friends, he's actually just a new friend that I met. I have been diving for a while now. I started diving in August 2021. And I think as I'm recording this video, I have 36 log dives. So I have dove 36 times now in a row. And of course, along the way, you meet other divers, right? And then of course, you introduce yourself. What the hell are you doing as a career? All that kind of stuff. And so I got to meet this person that I'm not going to name because I feel like he's going to listen to this too. He was saying that he really wanted to become a freelancer, but he said, I quote, "Just like everybody else, I am skeptical." Like, he made this generalization that a lot of people, when they hear about the word freelancing or when they think about freelancing, they are very much skeptical about it, which I totally understand. It's like everyone who hasn't gone through that path of like home-based jobs and whatever, they really are very skeptical about that word, about that career, about that path. And I answered him directly during a car ride when we were going to the dive resort where we were diving. And I told him, I said that, well, the reason why we are skeptical by nature is that biologically, we are trained to be scared of the things that are unfamiliar. So back in the day when we were still like these people that don't know that there are such thing as clothes, you know, we walk around naked, we don't have slippers, we go around the world barefoot, we create fire by a stone, whatever that is, like the really, really old ages. When we walk into the woods or in a forest, if a branch is cackling, is it cackling or crackling or whatever? If you hear a branch break, automatically your body response would be like, what's that? Okay, so that's a normal body response because you are scared, that's uncertain, you're not sure what that was. And so you're trying to be careful and tiptoe because you can never be sure what that is. It could be a wolf, it could be a bear, it could be someone that is about to attack you from behind, whatever that is. And we are trained ever since to act that way in all things uncertain and unfamiliar. And that's normal. And so that's how I view it in a biological perspective. In a societal perspective, it's a little bit different, but kind of like similar. So when you grow up, you are mostly told by your parent that once you reach the age of 5, you're supposed to go to kindergarten and then start taking exams and studies and classes up until you reach the point of 1st grade, 2nd grade, until you graduate elementary school, until you graduate high school, until you finish your degree in college. And it is up to you if you're going to go to if you're going to get a master's degree or doctorate degree, right? So it was all this predefined path that was set forth for us. It's a little bit different when it comes to freelancing because freelancing doesn't really have a predefined path. It's unfamiliar. And even though in a lot of my videos, I tell you this is what it takes to become a freelancer. This is step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's still a lot of uncertain things because there's no one that's going to control you and tell you what to do. And secondly, you don't really know what the future holds. You could have a client today, you wouldn't be able to have a client tomorrow. And so this is where all the skepticism comes from. Like, how stable is freelancing? How different is it compared to the predefined path that I was trained to accept? How dangerous is it in a biological standpoint? How risky is it? Will I be able to survive as a human being if I'm going to go that route? And so that's when you start to have questions, and this is also where the self-pity comes in, and this is also where you're going to start to think, okay, I'm actually not good enough. So since all of this is uncertain and I don't know exactly where this thing is going, I'm just going to find even more reasons to justify that I should not probably go that route. And so this is where you quote it or label it as skepticism. So this is where you say, I don't have an equipment for it, I don't have a laptop, the internet connection in the Philippines is slow, I don't really have a good mobile phone, I'm not sure what my skills are, I'm not sure if this is the skill that I want. What is the skill that makes the most money? What if I'm not as good as her? I saw someone who is doing a website design, but I am not as good as her. I don't know what web design is. You know, like all these questions just start to overwhelm you. And then when you start to get overwhelmed, what happens? Okay, so when there is friction, in science, we were taught that when there is a lot of friction that is happening, there's what? There could be fire, or there could be like specific, I don't even know, like energy. I'm not sure. I don't even know why I use that metaphor, but I was actually thinking about two rocks that are rubbed together creates fire, right? And so that is a time when you start to give up and stop thinking about it. And then you go back again to your, regular days wherein you're comfy and you're familiar and you don't want to take the risk anymore, because in this way where it's comfy, it's familiar, you can just go to your 9-to-5 job where someone is going to tell you what to do, and you know that tomorrow you're still going to do the same thing, and then next week you're still going to do the same thing. So everything is familiar to you. There is nothing that you need to think about. There is nothing that you need to get overwhelmed of. And so that is the answer. This feels comfortable. It feels right. I'm going to be staying in here. And that's what happens. That's basically the long answer to the question, why are people scared of freelancing? That's basically it. As a recap, there are two reasons: biology, and of course, the society's predefined path. Those are the only two things that I can think of when it comes to, people thinking about freelancing. And then it becomes a result of skepticism. Okay, so it's not just really just you being skeptic. It's like there's this biological thing that's happening in your body, plus there's also the societal thing that is happening around you. So you're being targeted inside and on the outside. Put them together and voila, it's easy for you to really get overwhelmed. Now, that would lead me to my next question. What's going to happen? Like, how are you going to manage overwhelm? Like, I really want to do freelancing, but how do I get past that overwhelming feeling when I start asking those kinds of questions, or when I start thinking about it? Well, for me, what I would always say to my students is that, number one, how badly do you really want it? Are you just going to allow your doubts and fears and skepticism to rule over your world, and you're thinking about this life that you want to live? Like, for example, with my friend, he's thinking about being a diver and making money through diving, and he wants to use freelancing on the side so that either way, he can either build a family out of it or do whatever the hell he wants to do. Right? So that was basically his plan. And to other people, it might also be different. It could be that you are a singer, right? Like, you want to write songs and you want to use freelancing as your wallet or your ticket to be able to write more songs and just focus on that kind of career until your singing career takes off, whatever that may be. In my case, I used freelancing to be able to go wherever I want, have the things that I want, and then later on I shifted to coaching when the need arose. So Yeah, it could be a springboard to basically anything. You don't need to stick to freelancing if you don't want to. You can just commit to freelancing for the next 2-3 years. And then when you start earning that kind of money, where you feel like you're a little bit comfortable, and then you can start your passion projects, go for it. Freelancing doesn't need to be this whole full-time thing. You know, like it could literally be a springboard to something else. And so you can keep thinking about that life and just merely think about it, or you could also keep thinking about that life and start taking action and start to think, what are the things that I need to do to become a freelancer? Because it's a lot different when you're actually living that life rather than just thinking about it. A lot different. And so don't allow your doubts, your fears, and whatever that may be to kind of like control the life that you have and allow that to be an obstruction to the life that you want to live. So yeah, that's it for our very first episode here in the Freelancing Legacy, ladies and gentlemen. You're still with me, your host, Demi Bernice. I'd like to give you a pat on the back virtually because you finished the first episode. I'm so excited to be talking about other freelancing topics with you without any sort of like outline and scripts and whatever. It's just all me just, you know, trying to pull out some of the knowledge in my head and making it into a story or whatever. And I do hope that you're learning something out from this. And I hope if my friend is watching right now, I hope that you're, you know, like I'm actually a little bit awkward because now I'm talking to you. So I hope that you're going to find a way. I have very high regards for you. You're a very intelligent man, and I would always consider you as a brother by bond. I think that you can really do it. It's just a matter of self-esteem issues. Like when a person views himself or herself as this person who cannot do it, like I'm not good enough and whatever, like your insecurities could really eat you up and make you become this person that you don't even want to be. So just be very careful about that. And I'm not only talking to my friend, but I'm also talking to you at this point, that your self-esteem is really going to affect your future. And so if you're going to keep telling yourself that you're dumb, you're stupid, and you're not good enough, it's really going to fucking happen. Like, that's just what I'm telling you. So please stop doing that to yourself. Be kind to yourself and see where that leads you, coupled with taking action into your dreams. And yeah, I hope to see you on the other side. Thank you so much. I'll catch up with you in the next episode.